Hello, guys. Thanks for joining me again. Your movie guru back with another review. This time, it's going to be a film that didn't get a lot of fanfare, not a lot of money spent in the advertising budget, and it's not, been one of those huge blockbuster type films that is coming for months. But one that I enjoyed a little bit. It's called Motherless Brooklyn. This is a film directed, and the lead is also played by Edward Norton. It also stars Bruce Willis, Alec Baldwin as our villain, and I know I'm going to butcher this name, but Mbatha-Raw. She also plays in this as well. She's kind of the love interest, and but also plays a more vital role in the story as well. So for those of you who don't know anything about this film, it's basically set in 1950s New York, and Edward Norton plays a detective with Tourette syndrome, and he's trying to find out who murdered his friend. That's the basic synopsis of this film. And like I said, I'm going to give you guys my rating straight up. I give it an 8 out of 10. There are some things it has to work through. It has a 144-minute runtime, and at a lot of times it felt really long, and some scenes went on too long. But I think that it was really interesting, and if you like detective movies, if you like those type of whodunit capers, I really think this is a worthy addition to that sort of genre, and that you'll find yourself, I'm not going to say like on the edge of your seat, but you will be interested in seeing where the film is headed. And the ending, I think that the payoff could have been a little bit more satisfying, but I do think that it serves. And the performances are rather well done. Edward Norton, fantastic actor. Alec Baldwin does a great job as the villain. Like I said, so really fine acting performances all around, and that's why I give this an 8 out of 10. I wouldn't say this is necessarily a film that you have to see in theaters. I actually think this is a film that, as it comes out of theaters and gets on Netflix and Amazon and other streaming services and things like that, I think that it actually will go up in popularity. As I don't think it has this big, despite the A-list cast, I don't think it has a big enough draw, big enough name to cause droves to go out to the theaters. But I think that as a film that you see on your streaming service, and you give it a chance, I think that by word of mouth, people will be like, "Oh, hey, I was watching this movie on Netflix yesterday, and I think I really enjoyed it. You should give it a try." So that's the summary. 8 out of 10. It's got a 61% score on Rotten Tomatoes by the critics, average rating 6 out of 10, and a 78% score by the audience with an average of 4 out of 5 stars. So those are the stats for it. As a little bit more of a detailed analysis, once again, I will say I really enjoyed the acting. The performances are by far the strongest thing about this film. They really do a good job of, like I said, Edward Norton plays our detective, our protagonist, and he has Tourette's. And it's really quirky, and it's not something that you've seen in a lot of other films. But it helped builds your affection for his character. It separates him from other characters that he's played before, and other archetypical protagonists, detective types, Columbo, Perry Mason. Him having Tourette's provides a source of comic relief that I think they use to great effect, and it provides a way of differentiating this character from characters you've seen in other films. Alec Baldwin, great job. He really plays the role of, he's not our typical bad guy. He is a type of villain that you will have seen before in other films, but he really plays this role well. It's hard to even separate the character from the actor in that regard, because if you saw Alec Baldwin in the street after seeing this film, you would really see him as that character. I think that he plays this role so well. So by and large, the performances are the best part. The film does a good job of making things interesting enough to where you want to see where it's going. So you want to see. I will say that the character who dies, I don't think they did as well of a job of establishing him as a character and as a person that we should care about firsthand. So I don't think that most audiences, they'll get sucked into this film because they want to see what happens to the character, or they want to see redemption of, who killed this character. But the overall story at large, you really will want to see where this is going, where this is headed. I forgot to mention Willem Dafoe is also in this film. He also does a great job of acting. I said really, really strong performances here. Some of the reasons why I don't, I didn't. This is definitely not a perfect film. Like I said, at 144 minutes, it's definitely a long time. It takes a while for things to get going, and then even when things get going, there are parts that the action stops, and I think that they kind of drug on a little too long. I think that they could have made the point without having it drag on quite as long, but that's kind of how they decided to go with it. Also, I think that while the film does have a lot to say about power and a little bit about politics and what doing the right thing, what is the right thing, morality and ethics, it does have some things to say about these things. I don't think that it says as much as it could have, and then I think that the ending as well left a little bit to be desired. I think that they could have done that a little differently, maybe showed more of the aftermath, or shown just how certain things happen in the film, how they ended up affecting future events. I think that people would have liked to see that. So those type of things is what kept me from giving it a higher score. But once again, I think that if you like detective films, if you like strong acting, strong performances, those type of films, you'll really enjoy this movie. Once again, like I say, is especially this might be a film that, because like I say, it's a slow burn type of film, not necessarily a film that a lot of I don't think younger audiences would want to go to the theater and sit through and wait for things to develop. The patience, the attention span, isn't there in a lot of cases. But I definitely, like I said, think that once this comes out on Netflix or something, I think that it'll be more people will enjoy it, where they can, watch some of it and then go away and, come back to it. You might have a little danger with that, just because you might have to refresh yourself as far as where things are, because things do kind of get a little jumbled. I think he does a good job of explaining things and leading us, to the next stage. But sometimes I do think the film did get a little overly convoluted, and that wasn't necessary. But that's what I have. 8 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think. If you think that it was much higher or much lower, let me know. Write me a comment. We can debate films all day, as I've said several times. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you like what you see. Thank you guys for your support. I appreciate reading you guys' comments, and I appreciate just talking about films in general. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. Thanks you guys once again for watching. Take care.